What is up? Work here. In this video, I'm going to give my first impressions, some real loose math, nothing too scientific, on the Raszegeth bow. I'm going to be looking at it in Raid from a single target BM perspective, and then at the end, a little bit of Mythic Plus AoE, where it's a little less clear how it's doing. So to start, we're going to head into the Raid, and out of the gate, look at the damage here. We are popping off. I have never seen these numbers before. We're in the millions. The bow is truly incredible. 100%, 10 out of 10, recommend getting it. So to start, let's look at the description here. This basically says that auto-attacking an enemy gives you 6% attack speed stacking up to 5 times. That is approximately a 30% attack speed increase, which is going to make your auto-attacks slash auto-shots faster, more per minute. Next, if we look at our BM Hunter single target build here, this is what most people are running in Raid, we have something called Wild Call. This is going to make your auto shot criticals give you a chance to reset the cooldown of barbed shot. So, the bow's giving us more auto shots per second, we're getting more barb shot resets. Next, we have another talent that most people take called War Orders, and when we shoot our barb shot, we're going to get a 50% chance to reset the cooldown of Kill Command. So these three things together, this is the synergy for BM Hunter. So again, the bow basically gives us faster attack speed, which is more auto shots. Auto shots give us a chance to reset barbed shot. Barb shot gives us a chance to reset Kill Command. So the bow essentially gives us more barb shots and more kill commands. Pretty simple. At least that's how I understand it. Looking at raid bots here, we're going to compare the bow with my old bow, which is the 415 crafted with Fang adornments, and give it a bit of a sim with, again, our single target raid in mind. Let this thing crank up. I did speed through this, of course. This does take a little while, and I'll pay for the premium stuff. We get 83,000 gear score DPS. I've never done 83,000 to a boss. Not anytime recently, anyway. And we're looking at, according to the Sims, about an 8% damage increase or 7k for single target. The difference between the 415 crafted and the 418 bow with the proc and a little bit more agility. Okay, so getting into some real-world examples here. Again, I don't feel like hitting training dummies. Terros is the closest thing to a training dummy that I'll do. And this is a heroic pug of Terros, so, not the normal group, and it's pretty sloppy. In the beginning there, you'll see that I dropped frenzy stacks, and that's one of the main things I want to kind of point out about the bow, is that from a quality of life perspective, because you have this rolling 30% attack speed buff going on, you see I drop it there to turtle, which was probably not necessary, but having the bow constantly making your auto attacks faster, you're getting your barb shot back much faster as well. And dropping stacks really almost doesn't even show up on the meters. As long as that buff is up, you're going to get back to 3 stacks of frenzy really quickly. So I think in the last 10 seconds of this fight, it's again full chaos, non-guild your pug. I'm dropping frenzy stacks to try to live and deal with these like poorly executed mechanics basically, but we are getting frenzy stacks back really quickly, so that's very nice. And just, anecdotally, I don't know what it was last week for heroic Terros, no idea. But I am doing 75k overall, which is much higher than normal, I would say. But I have to also say that this week, Hunter's got a 5% damage buff, so it's multiple things coming together. So not a perfect example. Back into a slightly more organized situation. This is my guild run and kill of Mythic Terros last week. Again, pre-buffs, so, it's going to be a little bit more this week just because of that. But I am not a Meldon, who is probably our most geared and best hunter in the guild, definitely. He's like 99% parsing most of the heroic ones as MM. But me, last week, I was doing about 65k overall when we killed Mythic Terros. Mythic Terros is a pretty hard boss, I would say. I think it's fair to say that. There's a lot of mechanics happening and a lot of times where you kind of have to prioritize mechanics over damage. As BM, you can pretty much get full uptime, but not always. So 65k by the end of the fight. And spoiler alert, this week, things were just not going super well. I think the comp changed a tiny bit, and we just were not on it, and I don't we did not kill it this week. Spoiler alert. We got very close. There were a couple like 2% parts, almost attempts here. But just generally, I did this fight for about 3 hours, so I've done this a lot. But generally, if we're looking at the damage at the end here, I'm significantly higher, 74k, and Imeldan, who also has the bow, is even higher than me, but we're doing a bit more damage. So single target, I do believe raid bots, I do think compared to the bow, it's about 7k, 5k-ish more damage. And then looking at BM in AoE situations, it's a little bit harder to judge what's happening. But on a fight like Eranog, what you can basically do is keep him targeted the whole time, and you never lose your buff. If you auto-attack a different mob, you're going to lose the speed buff, and that's going to be sad for you. So in this case with Eranog, it's kind of a fun fight to test this on because I can basically permanently stay on Eranog while cleaving the ads. We're going to send Algathor box, and the increased amount of barb shots means that I can more reliably have kill commands for AoE, which is nice. Again, AoE situations, it's a little bit crazier. We just swap targets, so I'm going to lose stacks here. And this is another, I'm realizing now this is like maybe partially my fault. I was trying to kick that because people died. Actually, a lot of people died already. But if he casts, he kills people. So I was trying to balance it, and we didn't quite make it. And if you ever wondered if it's possible to kill Terros after the whole raid wipes, almost, you certainly can. The other two hunters use their brains and turtled. I've definitely turtled. I just accepted it as a wipe. I was like, okay, let's reset, whatever. It's our first pull. Let's do it again. But again, anecdotally, hunters have had a buff since last week and whatnot, so not pure science here. But I was doing a lot more damage than I normally do here, and I think it's because we have a bit more barb shot resets, but I died, so it wasn't a very good parse. But when I was alive, it was pretty high. This, as of recording it, is the only Mythic Plus dungeon I've done with the bow this week, I think, so it's a bit of hunter buff combined with the bow here. But this is another great kind of single target cleavy fight where getting more barb shot resets mostly is like the main thing that's really great. So just like Terros, going to be staying right on the tree boss here. And anytime I see the arrow, the barb shot reset, that means that, we're getting the Warrior's proc? I forget which one, but we're basically getting a reset. So there's one right there. I'm not even spending it. But what kind of happens, especially if it's like a mechanically heavy fight, is that you're getting full resets of barb shot, and I'm not used to it. So you're like sitting on them. It's something I have to get used to now. Is like, oh, I'm going to get these barb shots back instantly. And I'm watching it back now, and these are coming back really fast. And I don't have a ton of haste. I only have like 18 haste or something like that. But these barb shot resets are really quick here. And what that basically allows me to do is I get a 50-50 chance of resetting kill command. And I basically have kill command now for cleaving almost always when I need it. So it's a big difference here. It's maybe not as straightforward to track, but I mean, BM Hunter jokingly has 2 buttons, barb shot and kill command. We get more of those. Maybe we didn't need a whole video to talk about this, but I've been interested in how the bow affects gameplay, and other than like, hitting a dummy and trying to count how much it's going to happen, which you can't really do because, it's RNG. You can't really predictably do the same pull, even on a dummy. I just kind of wanted to see, what's it look like with the proc happening, and then you just have to take my word for it that I can tell that I'm still sitting on an extra charge. This thing is resetting way faster than I'm used to. I'm getting my barb shot resets really quickly, and I even get to pad with thundering up on this one. I don't know why everyone died here. I don't know if I did anything to cause that, but again, the tree boss is an extremely paddy AoE kind of fight, so I mean that's a pretty big number. But we're just cleaving like 12 ads at a time. But I can definitely see that the resets of barb shot are happening quite a bit. So that's like your best AoE case scenario is that fight. And then here's like a Mythic Plus with the bow, just straight up single target fight here. So, we're running the AoE build, so that single target's not as good, but just wanted to have this recorded just to show, like, again, you can see the stacks are building up at the top there. It's the dragon with the 5. They build up really quickly, actually, so switching targets really isn't too bad. I mean, in trash, it's like if you were tab targeting like always, like for barb shotting, you're going to lose it pretty much the whole time. But it does build up rather quickly. I can see my controlled current trinkets going off, so that's giving me more haste as well, which is great. And yeah, just like constantly, anytime you see the barb shot like that glowing, it means that I have 2 stacks, and that usually only happens with resets. So I'm like sitting on stacks, like, you know, typically as BM, you're kind of waiting, praying sometimes for your barb shot to come back. And with the bow, we haven't even lusted yet. Are we lusting now? I can't. Do we lust yet? We're gonna lust in a second. This thing is resetting like crazy. Am I going to send Algothar box during lust? That would be good planning. I'm not sure that that's actually what's happening. Okay, so we barely got the reset. There's Algothar box and lust. Okay, cool. So, you know, I can't do this fight with the bow, with like switch bows and do the exact same fight. It's never going to go the same. There's different comps, right? So it's not really like I can truly compare them, but I can tell watching this as I'm sitting on stacks a ton and generally playing that like you can send your barb shots a lot more carelessly now. And if you do drop stacks and it's single target and you still have your bow buff up, you're going to get them back really quickly. Whereas without it, certainly there's cases where like if you messed it up, you sent barb shot too early or something like that, or just missed it in general, there's times where you might be sitting there for like 10 seconds without really being able to get back to your 3 stack, which is obviously really bad for your damage. But with the bow, it does come back quicker, and you just generally have resets. Every time I look down, I'm like, oh, can I send it? I'm like, oh, I have 2. So I have to start sending it almost, not on cooldown, but you see like there's just so many resets. I could almost sit here and count how many. There's quite a bit. And so in Mythic Plus with AoE, the AoE build and whatnot, it's not as straightforward. I'm not going to do like the consistent 75k. I don't think I've ever done like 75k overall on like a boss like this at the end. But certainly sitting around maybe 70 when we're sending lust in the middle. And on tree boss and, you know, pad fights, there's, you know, opportunity to kind of multiply. Every reset you get is going to be, you know, a cleave reset. So it's certainly impactful. And, you know, I've already seen like other like really super geared hunters do like, you know, 150k overall in this dungeon. And it's certainly possible with the bow. So overall, of course, really happy. It's obviously the expansion defining bow, but just to see it in real life and watch it do its thing, it's pretty fun. Recommend it. So that wraps it up for this video. If you just wanted to see the bow in action, nothing too scientific, this is it. It's obviously really good. LFR, normal, or heroic, they're all probably worth it for BM over almost any other weapon. Maybe the 421s are better, but I kind of doubt it for BM. Check you on the next video. Peace.